Hello, Chris.
Joseph, how are you today?
I'm very good, thank you. Yes. I went to Manchester, in the UK. Sorry.
No kidding. I was there a year ago, 2 years ago.
Good grief.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
So
Well,
really quickly, I'm going to jump in and take your snapshot. If
okay.
you look at your cameras and smile, snapshot in 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Enjoy the chat.
Thank you. But yeah, it's odd because actually 4 weeks ago I was in Toronto because my sister's got permanent residency there.
How did you enjoy that?
Loved it. I've been to Toronto before, but obviously when COVID hit, it was a different thing. So to be able to get there after a year, it was incredible. You know, been to the islands and whatnot, and it's a different experience altogether.
In Manchester, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Can I answer any questions for you, or?
Certainly. I hope you don't mind if I delve straight in, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So you worked with David Carradine. This was on Kung Fu: The Legend Continues.
Correct.
And David Carradine was actually well renowned for being a big comic book fan. He knew his comic books like an encyclopedia. So there's actually 3 questions here. What was it like working with David? Did he give you any input into the audition for Gambit? And what's it like being Marvel's favorite badass?
Well, first of all, David and I talk comic books a lot, but he had vast knowledge, and he had prior experience. I mean, he was talking comics from the 60s, 50s, 40s, so he loved Superman. He loved all of them, but he never gave me any input. We never really talked about the X-Men at all. We were usually too busy working, and he was, in hindsight, probably the most enigmatic man I've ever worked with in my life. At the time, challenging, because he was a challenging guy, but he and I really, there was a love there for each other, and we were friends long after the show. So that answers a portion of the question about what it was like to work with David. What else? What was the second part of that?
What was it like playing Gambit, playing the ladies' man, the badass, that type of thing?
Well, at the time I was kind of insecure about it because I'd worked with some real seasoned voice people, and I always was a bit nervous about that Cajun patois, and that all it took was Norm Spencer, who played Cyclops, to say to me, "Is that how you're going to do it?" To really throw me off. So it was kind of a whirlwind, because I was busy filming Kung Fu at the time, and I would use my lunch hour to go into the studio and do the Gambit stuff, and had no idea how popular the show was. The character spoke to me. I don't always like the characters I play, whether it's in television or in a movie, but I did like Gambit, and I kind of related to his swagger, his style, and he was even more of an outsider than the other X-Men, who were all outsiders. So I could relate to him at that age. For some reason, I just knew how to play him. Today they announced the new series, and that's big news. So it'll be interesting to see how the fans take that. But I enjoyed it. I just didn't realize how popular the X-Men series was until about 20 years after it had been super popular, because we were a bunch of Canadian actors that just didn't get I don't know. Back then, it was before the internet, in a way. Like we didn't get the instant press of Fox's success with it. So, and they weren't going to tell us, probably because we would have all wanted to renegotiate our contracts. So it was kind of a delayed effect. And it wasn't until a few years ago that I realized that everything we'd all done had really resonated with all these people around the world. So I'm proud to have been a part of it. And now going forward, it's going to be fun to get into the new stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that without doubt. I think my favourite episode with Gambit, there's actually two. One is Slave Island. It's the one with Storm, Jubilee, and Gambit. They're on Genosha. They've been held captive by the Sentinels and whatnot. And the thing that I liked about the episode was it showed with Gambit that two things. One, he was much smarter than people gave him credit for. He was very sly and cunning, but at the end of the day, he cared about the X-Men, the way his family, and he'd do anything for them. Which brings me to my next one, the final decision. It was the one for Sentinels and whatnot. There's a beautiful scene with Wolverine and Gambit where Wolverine locks him in the tunnel so he doesn't get killed by the Sentinels. And Gambit, in the end, both Wolverine and Gambit end up taking the Sentinels together. And the thing I liked about the episode was, for the first season, you'd always seen Wolverine and Gambit at each other's throats. There was that. And the thing that resonated with me was it was kind of similar to family, where you have many siblings that you disagree with, you fight with, or in Wolverine's case, dismember. But at the end... But at the end of the day, the family, and when things really get real, you intervene for your family and you're there for your family, and that's what kind of resonated with Gambit, that he did see the X-Men's family and he would be there for them. I think that was a really kind of good message for kids.
Yeah, it's an amazing character trait of his, considering he came from some real bad seeds, professional criminals who didn't have... Gambit ultimately he had heart and he wanted to be loved, but he had a conscience, like he had values even inside of his upbringing, and they transcended his upbringing. So that would show up. He always had a difficult time approaching this, the situation correctly. Like and maybe that was part of it. He was misunderstood sometimes by the other X-Men as well. Like, he was smarter than you thought he was, but he just didn't come into the room that way most of the time.
No, definitely.
And those were great episodes.
They really were. And this brings me to my next one. The thing that really, people often talk in Marvel that the perfect couple are kind of like Spider-Man and Mary Jane. And I always reckon the perfect couple are kind of Rogue and Gambit, because there was a sort of like purity about that, in the sense of Gambit was very much a ladies' man, there's no question about it, but he loved Rogue, and obviously it was difficult because Rogue, with the powers, it was very difficult to be intimate. But, you saw particularly in the series, Gambit, it wasn't an issue for him. He was in there for the long run. And I thought the chemistry that both you and Lenore had, who was spoken to, by the way, and she's lovely, I thought it was beautiful. So my next question would be, how does it feel that you and Lenore have voiced I'm not even going to say the best couple, the ultimate Marvel couple in Gambit and Rogue?
How was it what's my feeling about that? Is that the question?
Yes.
Well, I think Lenore understands her character so well that when you're working with another actor who really understands their character, it's very easy to create that chemistry that's required. It's a tragic couple, because you're right, Gambit, the one woman that he loves, he is unable to be with, in a way, really, they can't be a couple, and yet they know they should be. And here he is trapped forever, for eternity. He's like, it's a real juxtaposition, a conflict, that he is a ladies' man, but he doesn't really want to be. He just, but he can't have the person he loves. And I think that Lenore always played the character. I don't know. It was just the way she played the character that kept Gambit at bay without leading him on. She never led him on. No. She was always the one just saying, we can't be. This can't be. You understand that. And yet she knew that Gambit was, in love with her. So it's a pretty cool, there are a lot of great posters and great pieces of art that I see at the cons that are Gambit and Rogue together, that really bring out the power of that couple. So I feel honored to be a part of that history, comic book history. So we'll see what happens going forward.
Yes, I'm looking. I've just heard the news in the UK. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys can kind of bring after all these years. And to be honest, X-Men was part of my childhood, so I'm definitely going to watch it without doubt. So no, it has. I mean, to be honest, here's the thing: I've gone from being really jealous of Gambit to, because I had a massive crush on Rogue, to I cosplayed him as in one of the Comic-Cons type thing. So yeah, time changes a lot.
So are you an artist at all, or a collector, or are you like, what's your profession, or what are your hobbies?
I'm a lonely postman, but kind of read the comics, and I'm a big fan. So yeah, it's
you've got quite a collection of X-Men stuff as well.
Oh yes, I got that from Larry Houston, so that was one. But he loves the guy.
Well, we're supposed to be in Wales in
next April. Yeah.
In April. Yeah. So maybe we'll get to meet you.
Yeah, definitely. And in the meantime, you take care. And thank you for everything.